Let's kick it off with this. We got Zohran Mamdani. Guys, this is kind of a big deal, so let me throw this up there on screen for you. It says, Mayor Zohran Mamdani will be able to appoint 6 members to the Rent Guidelines Board, giving him a majority of appointees to deliver his signature campaign proposal of a rent freeze for rent-stabilized apartments. So, and you see Ryan Grimm here says, tons of very smart, actually people spent the campaign saying Mamdani simply couldn't deliver on this promise. It's February. And he did.
Yeah.
So think about it. We already have universal childcare. That's already basically been given a green light because Kathy Hochul is willing to deliver the funds to work with Mamdani on that. By the way, this is like why Zohran endorsed Kathy Hochul. He understands he has to work with her being mayor of New York.
Yeah.
And so in his mind, he's like, look, do I want the revolution? Of course I want the revolution. But since I'm the mayor of New York, I need to deliver for New Yorkers right now. And so this is the way he figured on doing that. I'll endorse Kathy Hochul. It's tit for tat. She'll deliver for me. I deliver for her. Yep. And then one of the ways she's doing that is universal childcare, which she supports, right? Mm-hmm. So that's a huge W, one of his like 4 major campaign promises. And now he already delivers on the rent stabilized thing. It's going to happen now. So, I mean, amazing that we've been told all these years as lefties, like, look, the problem with you guys is you're pie in the sky. The problem with you guys is you don't know how the world actually works. And so, like, once you're in power, it's harder than you think to deliver on these promises. And, like, the system is complex, and there's all these different moving parts, and you got to contend with the Republicans and contend with the Democrats who don't agree with you. And it turns out that where there's a will, there's a way. And the thing is, Zohran actually wants to do these things, so he's able to do these things. And this is how we thought it always worked, because FDR, you know, in the grand scheme of things, FDR was not that long ago. Like, in real terms, it kind of was. But in the grand scheme of things, it was not that long ago. And this motherfucker was elected 4 times, held 80% of the House, 80% of the Senate, and got his whole fucking agenda through like it was nothing because he was willing to play politics for the right ideas.
Right. Yeah, no, I mean, here's the thing is Zohran really understood what a harsh light his administration was. He knew he would be under a magnifying glass. Because there's nothing that, you know, the local tabloid press, the New York Posts of the world, or the national Republicans or the establishment Democrats would love to do more than say, like, oh, sure, you know, he was able to do a great TikTok video, but then when push comes to shove, he's terrible as a mayor. And this is what they did to de Blasio very effectively.
Even
right?
though he got some wins too, but sorry to cut you off.
He got some wins, but even within that, because there were, you know, there wasn't such an ability to message on this, and there were some like bumbles and incompetence and whatever, even though he had those wins, they were able to spin a narrative about how he was such a terrible mayor, et cetera, et cetera. So Zohran knew he had no margin for error, and he has been damn near perfect in terms of his execution. And it's everything from the big campaign centerpieces that he's already accomplishing to little sort of symbolic things. I'm going to build more public restrooms. I'm going to steam clean the subway. I'm going to open up these observation decks for all of New York. It also has a lot to do with the communication, because you can do those things and no one knows about them, and then it really doesn't matter. So, you know, he modeled his governing style after the sewer socialists, whose first and foremost commitment was like, okay, we're not going to be ideological pie in the sky. We're going to be pragmatic. We're going to actually deliver things that people can feel in their lives. That's the model that he's drawing from, and he's being very effective in being able to pursue that. The rent board thing is an interesting one. You know, Ryan's theory is that this guy, Eric Adams, tried to screw this up for Zohran. He was like on his way out the door, he like, you know, put someone in that was going to be opposed to freezing the rent. And Ryan's theory is that that guy looked at this massive popular mandate for rent stabilization and basically didn't want to be the guy who's like the face of standing in the way of that, and was like, you know what? I'm good. I'm like a wealthy guy. I can just go about my life and not have to worry about being demonized in this particular way. So I think that's how he accomplished that. But the other thing that people were really impressed with was the snow removal. You know, here in D.C., the snow removal was total and complete shit. It sucked. They didn't do a good job. In New York, people were very satisfied with how effective the local government was under Zohran in something that is very impactful in terms of people's quality of life. So on all of those metrics of like the big priorities to the day-to-day governance, he's been really, you know, he's been really great. And I would say too, I was sort of critical of some of the decision making around the political trade-offs, like deciding not to endorse a challenger to Hakeem Jeffries, et cetera. But at this point, given how effective it is, I have to say, I would defer to his judgment over mine because he is doing such an incredible job, and it seems like the political compromises he's been making have been paying off.
He already cracked down on shitty landlords too, I should point out. He signed an executive order for rental ripoff hearings. So it's going to apply pressure to those landlords and basically get them to back off. There was also that really cool thing, which was the first time ever that a New York City mayor did this, but ordered a deep cleaning of the subway system, which I'm sure people will absolutely appreciate.
Yeah. Fixed like a pothole that was a pain in the ass to bikers throughout the city. And I mean, these sorts of little things just makes you feel, okay, like he's paying attention from the ground level up. And, I think he also, he treats New Yorkers like they're adults. He's talking to them about, okay, this is the reality of the budget. These are the numbers that we're working with. These are the trade-offs that we're trying to make. He's inserted some of the language of, frankly, Doge-esque language, but in a positive way into he's forcing every single department to come up with savings to make the government more efficient. So again, people feel like their tax dollars are being well used, et cetera. I think it's all very intelligent and been very well received so far.
He also cut fees for small businesses. So to your point about the Doge stuff, positive connotation, not negative connotation. He's actually working class people who are entrepreneurs, he's actually looking out for them too, to your point. Couple other things. You mentioned de Blasio there. De Blasio is a victim of a relentless, ruthless, disgusting right-wing press that lied about him. Because he did universal pre-K in New York City, massive, massive W. He also raised the minimum wage. So on those two things alone.
He froze the rent too.
Froze the rent too. I'm a Yeti Man fanboy. I am. The Yeti Man is positive. I like Yeti Man. So that's one thing. The other thing was, and this is actually really interesting, he gave a speech. Zohran went out and gave a speech and basically said, look, we may have to raise property taxes. We may have to do that. I don't want to do that. I'm telling y'all I don't want to do that. I'm on record as not wanting to do that. But the other option is we need to increase income taxes on the richest New Yorkers a whopping 2%. But he needs Kathy Hochul's buy-in for that. And Kathy Hochul has been relentless in saying, I'm not going to support a tax increase on the wealthy. So she's been saying that, right? So this is his way of, this is political chess from his perspective, where he gives the press conference and says, I don't want to do this thing, but I have to because I'm statutorily required to balance the New York City budget. But if I end up having to do this thing, I just need all you guys to know, blame her.
Yeah.
Blame her. Because she's the reason. I'm telling you what I want to do, which is the 2% increase in income taxes on the wealthiest New Yorkers. It's a brilliant move because that also applies political pressure where it needs to be applied.
Yeah.
So in other words, he's willing to play nice when playing nice works. But he's also willing to play hardball when playing hardball works. But the right is being so dishonest about that press conference that he gave.
Oh, really?
Oh, my God, they are just lying. Every single headline is like, Zohran Mamdani raising property taxes on working class New Yorkers. It stabs the movement in the back. It's all stuff like that. And it's like, you guys are, there's not maybe they're misinterpreting it or misunderstanding. No, they are just lying. If you watch that whole speech he gives, the whole speech is he's like, I don't want to do this. I'm against this. We have a way to not do this, but it needs to be approved by Albany, and that's why I'm giving this speech, so that everybody calls Kathy Hochul, calls Albany, and says, hey, we want this. We don't want the property taxes to go up, right? So, and that's the other thing, and it ties in to the de Blasio point. It's like, they're going to have to work overtime to try to even get stuff to play gotcha with Zohran on. It's like this whole panic going on this week where Randy Fine's like, the Muslims want to ban you from having dogs as pets. And it's like, this is how much you guys have nothing. And the answer is yes, they have absolutely nothing. So they got to make up some bullshit. Some random Muslim woman was like, under Islam, it's better to not have dogs as pets. They have a place in society, but we don't want them as pets. And they took that as if it was in like a fucking policy proposal that was handed in by Zohran, right?
Well, I mean, the whole thing is so stupid.
It's
also,
so stupid.
That lady was just making a joke about the fact that, with all of the snow, there's all of this, dog shit everywhere in the snow, and it's like an internal New Yorker joke about how gross and disgusting this is. So, anyway, and she's not an aide to Zohran.
I know, they just lie. They just lie.
Completely. They just lie. And the New York Post has been utterly shameless. There have been some of these headlines that people have passed around. One of them was, something about Zohran was unrepentant after stealing a table school in college or something like that.
Oh
Another
my
one was
God.
they were trying to make it like it was a negative thing that after the snow that they had school. It was online school. It was like a remote learning day, and Zohran zoomed into it, and they tried to make it like it was a negative, like he was such a party pooper and these kids can't go out and play in the snow or whatever. It's like, I think most people support kids getting education and like not missing school days. But anyway, they've been very desperate, to your point, to try to smear him on anything. And he's given them very little to work with. And I think that's where his communication style really matters, because if you can buy New Yorkers into the story you're telling about the city and about the roadblocks you're facing and what the choices are that are being made and the trade-offs and where, you know, people are standing in the way of your agenda, like with Kathy Hochul and the, you know, tax increase on the wealthy, then you have your own ability to explain what's going on, and they're not just getting their information from the fucking New York Post.
The right is so lucky he can't run for president.
Oh my God.
Oh my God, they're so lucky. Because this would be, we'd be talking about like 400 plus electoral college votes, bro.
I mean, I don't know about that, but we would be.
I do.
Like it would be not just one of these nail biters. This one wins by 1% or that one. It would be a true, clear mandate, because he just has that level of talent and vision and seriousness. You know,
like who's the candidate even going to be? Don Jr., Sloppy Steve Bannon, Stephen Miller.
I mean, JD
Ron
Vance
DeSantis with his fucking platform shoes.
JD Vance is the most likely.
Eyeliner boy.
Yeah.
Eyeliner boys. Please, please. Oh my God, I want to see that so bad. Please. Can I bequeath him my my birth certificate? Like, hey, I'll switch places with you. I'll be a naturalized citizen. You could be the natural born citizen. Am I allowed to do that?
We need to start pushing a constitutional amendment like right now.
I know. You're not kidding. You're not kidding. Hey guys, had an awesome Crystal, Kyle, and Friends episode this week with just me and Crystal. We have some amazing updates, some spicy, juicy, honestly disturbing updates when it comes to the Epstein files. You don't want to miss this particular segment, which you'll sign up on Substack below, and you'll be able to get the entire thing.